Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yesterday we were talking about the control statements and loops. So we have completed the control statement loops and also completed the arrays concept also. In the arrays concept, we have completed one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array and how we can access the elements from the array, how we can delete the elements from the array, okay? How we can add the elements to an array, what is associated in an array. So we have completed all these concepts yesterday. Now we'll see the next further concepts. Now, what is initializing an array? Okay, initializing an array. Next concept is how to initialize an array. You see. So everything we will write inside the everything we write inside the say we write say this is opening and it must have been closing number somewhere else. Okay. The opening one, this is the closing. Now this complete is a script. This complete is a script. Okay, this complete is a script. Now we to initialize, you see there's a variable, and these are the values inside the array. And if you wanted to if you wanted to print elements of the array, we are using the print underscore r function. That is the function will be used. That is initializing. So these are all the functions of the array. So print underscore r function, that is one function, and var underscore dump is one function. Okay, and this is one more function. All these functions we just implement in the practice. So you'll get an idea how to use the functions. You'll get an idea. So next one, we will see the concept called functions. Next one, we'll see the concept called function. Now see what is the function and what is the definition of the function. You just note down what is the definition of the function. That is different five. You see what the function it is. Now PHP also it has a functions. Okay, it has a functions. So what generally a function means? Function it will carry one task, one kind of activity. So one kind of activity it will perform. Okay, example, this is opening brace and closing brace. Now inside this is called a block. This is called a block. And if you write a function here, create the function in here. So function name, opening brace and closing brace. Inside that we have the function block. Okay. Now that is a function here. Now to create a function, how to create a function you see the syntax. how to create a function. Now the PHP is opening and closing. Angle bracket opening, angle bracket close, question mark or opening, question mark close. Then we have the PHP keyword. Then after that, see the block. This is the block, open and close. Now here, see the function name. The function name. And these are the arguments, function arguments. Now this is a function block. And just script you can say this is a block. Okay. So the function block. So this is the syntax of the function. So how to call a function means you just write the function name with the appropriate arguments. So that we call the scripter. This function will call this scripter. Okay, this is a function. Now example you see here. Example you see. Now this web type HTML open and close. Next the body is open and close. And PHP it is open and close. And here, see this function name is for write message, right? MSG. This is a function name. And this is a function block. Open this and closing this. Inside this, what we are doing is a function block code. So we are trying to print this message whenever someone calls this function. Now here who is calling? This is calling. This is calling. This calling this function. And this function will execute this message, this block. Okay. This is how the function will perform its logic. So inside this we write the function name, the function keyword, function name, the function name block is open and close. Now outside the block we are calling the function. This function will go to this function, and once it is called, it will execute this statement. Okay. So this is called a function block. It's a function definition. This is a function name. Once again, I'm repeating. This is a function name. This is a function definition. This is a function call. This is a function call. Okay. So why the functions are useful? So why we use functions? So any kind of task, if you want to repeatedly perform, if you wanted to perform repeatedly, if you wanted to reuse any kind of activity, if you wanted to reuse, we use the concept called function. In order this program, I'll explain why we use the function. Why we use the function? Just see, reusing. I just said reuse. That means this function can be, whenever it is called, this logic will be executed. That means if you wanted to use this logic multiple times, just you can call this function. That means this logic will be used multiple times. You no need to write multiple times. One time you write and reuse it multiple times. Okay, that is the advantage of the functions. That's the purpose we use the functions. So here's what reusing existing code. Okay. Reusing existing code. Reusing existing code. So what is the existing code here? This is the existing code. This is a function name. This is a function definition. You can say function definition. Okay. This is a function name. Okay. This is a function call. This is a function call. So whenever this function, this function definition is executed. So this will done every time. That is the concept called reusing. Reusing the existing code is the goal of the software engineers. So, so one more advantage is what they will reduce the cost. Reduce the cost. Okay. So writing the less code, they can reduce the cost and increases the availability and improve the consistency. Okay, these are the advantages of the functions. One advantage is what reuse is one advantage. Reusing is one advantage. Reducing cost is one advantage. Increasing the availability is one advantage. And improving the consistency is another advantage. So these are the advantages of using the functions. Okay. So cost reduction, which are all into that. The reliability, consistency. Now, next one is what? Calling the function. Calling the function. Just now, I said in this program, calling the function. This is called calling the function. Okay. Now, see, calling the function here. Now, you can have several PHP functions directly in our script. Okay. There are so many functions are there. You can directly use them in the PHP script. Okay. There are no internal functions we call built-in functions. Okay. And a function is not automatically executed. So we can say the function will not be executed automatically. Somebody should call the function. That means one more method, one more procedure will be there to call the function. Then only it will respond. So if no one calling the function means it doesn't respond. Okay. So there are several ways to load arguments from PHP. Okay. Some other concepts are there. The call by value, call by reference. Okay. These concepts are there. That will cover in the further classes. But what is the function call means? We just see is a function name, parenthesis, semicolon. Okay. Uh, if you wanted to call with arguments, the function name, we can put the arguments. So this is function with arguments. Okay. And if you wanted to call arguments means what input here. It's nothing but what input. This is nothing but input. Okay. This is calling the function definition directly without any input. Just wanted to reuse the function definition directly. And this is calling with arguments means we are giving some input. We need the function definition to be executed with this input. That is a function with arguments. And calling the function with reference. With reference. This is the function name. Now these are arguments. There is a reference. Okay. And we are just using the function, the default argument here. So calling the function with variable arguments and with the default arguments. So these are some types of calling functions here. So examples are there here. You can just see the examples here directly. Now this is a function name. The function name. So the examples, how the examples we just execute. Now how to work with the variable functions. How to work with variable functions. Now as part of the PHP, there is the concept of variable functions. This means what if you put parentheses around the name of the variable, the PHP will look for a function with the same name. Okay, that means that this parentheses. Okay, and if you put some name here, message. Okay, name of the variable is a variable, and if you put the parentheses around the variable name, the name of the variable. Okay. So with the language construct, echo print concept, we set empty. Okay. The variable function will not work in this case. So how to write our own functions here? So the user-defined functions. So whatever we discussed, those are predefined functions. Now this is user-defined functions. User-defined functions. User-defined functions means the writing functions are on our own rules. Means the rules required by the programmer. Based on the rules, we can prepare our own functions. So that is user-defined functions here. Is a function keyword, is a function name, is a function logic, opening brace and closing brace. So syntax is a common for the different function, user-defined functions. You see here, now say this the function keyword is a function name, say I, okay? And this function is called, it will go to the function and it will find this function definition. Okay. So this is a user-defined function. You see, user-defined function you can easily identify. So they will have some uh, descriptive meaning, some kind of descriptive meaning you can say. So with that, we can easily understand, we can easily identify whether it's a user-defined function or a predefined function. Whatever recursive function you see, the recursive function, if any function, if you wanted to call multiple times, you wanted to execute multiple times, it's called recursive function. It's called recursive function. We also call functions within functions. So this is a proposal as recursion. So avoid recursively calling function over 200 levels because this can cause the stack for smashing and definition of the script. So if you wanted to call this logic, this script 200 times, okay, you have to write the function, you have to call the function 200 times. Okay. So here we are just we are writing one function, we are calling multiple times. So that is function inside the function. What says recursive function. So this is about function and arrays. So these are the questions, or they just go through these questions and execute all these programs to understand how to what will be functions arrays. And next you will see. Please talking about object-oriented programming using PHP. Object-oriented programming concept. And please talking about object-oriented programming concept. Here the concepts are, so what is a object-oriented programming concept and what is a class, what is an object, you know, how to create a class using properties, okay, what is the declaration and access, how to work with methods, okay, declaring a method, declaring a method, okay. And what is the concept of overriding and the concept of inheritance. Okay. So next the concept of constructors and destructors. So how to load a class files. So these are the object-oriented programming concepts in PHP. We'll see one by one now. We'll see object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming. It's a model of objects instead of the actions and data instead of logic is known as object-oriented programming. So what is object-oriented programming means? It is a model, programming model. It's a programming model. You can call model, you can call design model. And it will be based on the objects. It will be based on the objects. So that means this model works based on the objects. It is not based on the action. Okay. We used to, in previous, we used to use uh, actions, we used to use actions. But we are working in the objects. And the, this is logic, this is known as the object-oriented programming. Now it is a programming that basis of the deal of ecosystem data and the functionalities associated with it. So what we simply put together, object programming means it is a model which will work based on the objects. Simply put together what we need. And what is the calculation here? What are the concepts will cover in this object oriented models? You understand what is the class, what is an object, what is the data number, what is the number function, and inheritance, interface, volume design, overloading, and data abstraction, encapsulation, and the constructors and destructors. And these are the concepts that we will cover under this, characterization of the theoretical programming in PHP. So these concepts we will cover. We have to learn the programming, PHP, and cover all these concepts. And first we will understand what is an object here. Later on, we will go by one by one. So what is an object you see here? The classes define data structure as an object. So classes define data structure as an object. An object belongs to a class is defined once, and the many more are made. They're also known as instances. So simply put together, you can call object. There's nothing but instances. Okay. For instances, that means one time it will return one time, and this will be used multiple times. This will be used multiple times. So what is called, this block is called a model. This block is called what a model. Principle of structures. Says this model. And this model can be used multiple times. So that multiple times means this is one instance, this is one instance, this is one instance, like this. You can take multiple instances of one object, or one model, or one design. This is called an object. For example, let's say we take a event is a class, event is a class of lessons, languages, and student will have the name and roll number Okay, this is the design. This is a model. Now there are 100 students are there. There are 100 students are there. These 100 students also will contain the same name and roll number. That means this design is same for 100 students. So that means from this design, we can copy 100 students objects. We can copy 100 students objects. So that means we can create 100 students objects without this single design. This is what an object is. What an object is. Now what is a class then? What is a class? Yes. Now the class is what? So what is the class name? No, class is an object. You see, in a class, object and the properties are stored along with their behavior. So, along with their behavior. And that is, now say, student is a class, student is a class. See, what what is it telling? A class object and the properties are stored along with their behavior. So, what is those properties and behavior? So, this is stored. Properties and behavior will be stored inside this class. Okay. These are called uh, data members. These are called data members and called member functions. Okay. So technically, this is called variable and this is called functions. This is called. So what is the student here? The student is a class. So what a class contains? The class contains properties. This property related behavior. So these two things will contain inside the class. So this class we are calling is an object. Now this class we are calling what? This class is an object. So from this object, this is a design. This is a design. Now this design is copied to all the students. You can take 100, you can take 100 students, you can take 200 students. How many students you wanted to copy this design, you can copy. So this is what student is a class here. Now this template is in what object? This template is an object. So from this object, you can take multiple objects. You can call object, you can call instance. Okay, that is what object is. And what is data member? The functions we have discussed. The next concept is inheritance. Inheritance. So just now we have seen the inheritance here. See the student here open and close. Then after that, okay, this is a college, and one more class is a student, and college have the college address, college have the college address, and college code, college address. Okay, these two things. Now these two things can be copied to student automatically because the student is belongs to this college. The student belongs to this college. Okay. So what is the procedure is involved in this inheritance we will discuss. But here technically, the student will go to this class. This is one more class. This is one more class. This is called super class. So super class. And this is subclass. This is subclass. The subclass go to super class. Take these two details, that is data numbers and number functions, and will use it in the subclass. And these details will not be written inside the subclass. Just they will use these two details from the superclass without writing them in the subclass. Okay. Again, we don't write here address and college code. Okay. We implement some technical concept here. With that concept, we use this superclass and we use this data numbers and number functions into the subclass without writing those data numbers, number functions inside the subclass again. Okay, this is called inheritance. This is called inheritance. This is called inheritance. Now, how to create a class and object in the PHP? Just to see once. Just copy this program. Just copy this program. You will understand each and everything. Just copy this program. It's much you copy. Copy this program, we will understand this. Yeah, see here. Now this is a class. This is a class. Now this is a class. This class is having the properties. So this is a property, name, color, and this class is having methods. You can also call the functions. You can also call methods. And this is a function name, method name, and this is the input. Okay. And this one more function is there. This one function, one more method that is. So this is a class. How to create a class means you can use a class keyword, class name. You can use a class keyword, class name, and this opening brace and closing brace. This is the end of the class. And after this, these are the properties we need to write. First, we need to write the properties. Then after that, we need to write the methods. In this method, there is a method open and close. This is the set underscore name method. This is the method logic block. This is the method block. You can say function block or you can say method block. Okay. Now this is one more method open and close. And this is the method block. Now see a function keyword is common. Function keyword is common. Now methods with function block we can write in any different ways. Okay. But here to understand the template is so there is a class keyword, class name, opening brace and closing brace. And after that you have to get the properties, the property one, property two, semicolon. And the methods we need to write that the keyword, the function keyword here, and after the function name, opening brace and closing brace. And here also function name, opening brace and closing brace. So this is called a uh, template. Is a template. How to create a class and object units. There is a syntax. This is the syntax. This is a class name, class keyword, class name, declaring the data members in the member functions. So member functions open and close. So these are creating the class and now to create an object here. See, this is a class. This is a class. Class keyword, class name, open and close. Now to create an object, we are using the keyword called new. We are using the keyword called new. So with this, we can create the object. Here we have created what object. So objects we have created. Now let me see one example here. We will see one example. One example here. One example is a class keyword. The class keyword. The class name is what vegetables. Now these are the properties. This is name and this is color property. The property. And this is the method, the keyword, function keyword, the function name, set name. Then one more function, get name. And we are creating the object. So what we are creating here, your object name is this one. And after that, we are using the new keyword. Then after the class name. For this class, this is one object. And for this class, this is one object. So like this. So this is the program. You can see. And this program is printing what? This is one vegetable, this is one vegetable. So we have two vegetables, it's printing. Now to create creating and using the properties. So they are access modifiers are there, the public, private, and vector. These are access modifiers. By using this access modifier, so we can restrict the class data members and member function from the outside of the class. So these are the so to declare an access, this is the scope of the visibility, declare the properties. Okay. Now here this property is a property. We have given the public. Here also we have given the public. So when I say public means here see when I say public keyword, the public keyword will be used throughout the program. Public keyword will be used throughout the program. And after that, how to work with the methods. See how to work with the methods. Declaring the method and calling the method. This procedure we have seen in functions topic. How to write the function and how to call a function. This function topic you have seen. Then after that, overloading, object overloading. This is what is object overloading. This is. So here overloading properties and methods can be created dynamically by using the overloading concept. So a class can establish that magic methods for various function types to process dynamic entities. And you can use multiple objects dynamically by using the overloading concept. It's important to understand. So inheritance, the keyword is extends keyword. Just for like these three types of inheritance. See, there are types of inheritance are there. See, there is a single inheritance is there, multi-level inheritance is there, hierarchical inheritance is there. With that types of inheritance we'll see one by one. To implement the inheritance concept, we have to use a keyword called extends keyword. This is a keyword is used to implement the inheritance concept. Okay. As an example, it's single inheritance. This is single inheritance. There is one parent class and one child class. In call parent class, in call super class. So you can call parent class. You can call super class. You can call base class. Anything is fine. Sys and the child class is and this is you can call child class, you can call subclass, I can call derived class. Okay. You can call derived class. That means there is only one parent class and one child class. This is called single. Okay. So from the parent class, the child class can access. From the parent class, the child class can access uh, child class can access data members Mhm. We can simply put together a thing called properties and function groups. These two things the child class can access. So this child class can access the parent class. What can access? It can access properties and functionalities of the parent class to child class. Okay, this is called single inheritance. It's called single inheritance. Multi-level inheritance, you see here, multi-level inheritance. There are multiple child classes there. Child class 1, 2, and 3 like this. There is only one parent class and multiple child classes. That means the parent class common properties can share to multiple child classes. This is called multi-level inheritance. This is multi-level inheritance. Okay. The next concept is hierarchical inheritance. You see the example hierarchical inheritance you see here. So one parent class is there and two child class. That means multiple child class. Again for the child class and subchilds will be there. Again for the child class, subchild will be. That means that these two subchilds, this is the parent class. For this child, this is the parent class. For these two childs, this is the parent class. So this is the hierarchical inheritance. See this example, see here. The example, see this example. This is the class keyword. This is the class name. This class name is so open and close with open and close here. And after this is a method. This method open and close here. This is one more method open and close here. Okay. These two methods are there. Method one and method two. And this is one more class. Strawberry is one more class. This class open and close. And this class containing a method code like this. This is a method. Let us say this is method 3. Okay. The method 3. Now in this superclass name is what fruit. Subclass name is what strawberry. In the subclass, what we are doing, we are just simply written the method called message. We have simply written the method called message is a method. Okay. And from the superclass, we are using extends keyword. After that, we are writing the superclass. So from the superclass, we can access this method 1 and method 2 and these two properties. These two properties. Now see here, we have created an object here for child class strawberry. So we have giving input word strawberry, comma red. You see here, strawberry, comma red. Now, This is now this fruit is strawberry and the color is red. This is one method. Next one, we will have constructors and instructors. Automatically loading class files. And so these are the model questions are there. So there are these model questions. There are all these model questions. This is some terminology in English so that what is observability, object-oriented programming, and what is the class, what is the object, what is the property, what is the method, the inheritance, constructors, instructor, okay. What is the constructor we are seeing? The constructor method that call when a new instance is created. Okay. Now they can accept arguments, but they do not have to define their value. So general rule that constructors are used to initialize the properties based upon the inputs over their program. So what is what the constructor is? So constructor, it is a method. The method is called at the time of the instantiation of the object. So whenever you create an object to the class, this constructor is created. The constructor is called. So that they can define any number of arguments or different number of arguments. So when you constructors argument, so to place the argument in parentheses, these are the arguments. These are the arguments which are the parentheses. Okay, after the class. So see this example here after the class. This is a class, my class is a class. Now this is the constructor. This is a constructor. Whenever we create an object, the constructor will be loaded, okay, executed. That means it is executed. That is a constructor here. Now what is a destructor here? So in PHP, destructor are implemented similarly to the for C++ and other object-oriented languages. So after the shutdown sequence is complete, the destructor will be called when there is no further reference to a particular object. So whenever the object is not used, that means it is not pointing to any memory location, so the object will be destroyed. So to destroy that, so one would need to explicitly call this method, this step method, in the body of the destructor. Even if exit is used to stop a strict execution, but the destructor is also called. So like this, here the function the step is called in the constructor. This is a destructor, or this is a constructor instructor. Then how to load automatically or to load the class files. Okay. See, the use of classes are defined in another PHP script can be accomplished by using load or require statements. Okay. So PHP automatically after loading feature does not require such explicit inclusion. So what it does, if you pass the loads, class automatically when it is used. This is the example. These are the model questions. These are the model questions. Now we'll see the next unit is next unit is how to handle forms with PHP. How to handle forms with PHP. So the concept we will discuss here is the one working how to work with the HTML forms, how to capture form data with PHP. Okay. and form validation technique. We're dealing with multi-values fields and generating the forms and creating file upload forms, redirecting of the form submission. These are the concepts we will discuss in this code. Okay. Now, what the objective of this unit is, after completing this unit, you will be learn how to handle HTML forms, okay, and how to capture data from the form, okay, using PHP and validate the form in PHP, and how to become familiar with multi-value fields, how to create a web forms and file upload forms. And you will get a deeper understanding of the redirection call and submission of the forms. So these are the objectives you will achieve for understanding this environment. Okay. Now, working with the working of HTML forms. Now, to see this, if you wish to collect some data from site visitors, so HTML forms will be necessary. For during the user registration process, you might want to collect such information as a name, email address, say the name, email address, credit, card number, example. So visitors fill out the form. The visitors will fill the form and it will be posted to the backend application that handles the submission. So example, CA is there, common get address. It is a base, it is a rest, is great, then it is there. Okay. And the backend application, the required processing is performed based on the logic required in the application, and which will be performed on the master data. Okay, now we will what we will see this. A visitor loads the form page on the web browser. So they will open the web browser, they will load the form. So upon receiving the request from the web browser, the web server responds. Here the one more concept is the server, web server response. This web server opens the HTML page containing this. Now the repeat HTML page can be that HTML file on the server. The HTML page result in the execution of the script on the server. Okay. The next one is CSS, cascading file sheets, and again, script files and images can be linked to HTML pages. That means the HTML page can contain CSS, JavaScript, and like images. These these also will be linked to HTML files. So the web browser downloads each of these file tabs. Finally, the HTML page is displayed. Okay. Now the CSS dashboard, CSS is responsible for the visual aspect of the page. So that means a design of the page. That means design might be color, fonts, etc. So as per the JavaScript calls, they will control the behavior of the program. So that means validation, messages, etc. And then it will take care by the JavaScript. So yes, CSS will take care of the design, and JavaScript will taking care by the behavior of the program. Okay. It will control the behavior of the program, which is JavaScript. Yeah. When the visitors fills out in the submit the form, the visitors when a form is submitted, then JavaScript code is triggered. So if an error occurs, the JavaScript notifies the visitor that the absence of error, the form is submitted. So if any error is there while submitting the form, where the JavaScript will notify the user with the error notification. With the error notification. The error notification. And the web server receives the data submitted by the form. These, they're all we will discuss in the next class.